Hi there. Thanks for coming. I don't know why you're watching this today for sure, but I do know one thing about you. You care about your child. And I'm not just talking about whether they're getting good grades in school or how their day's going today or what their career is going to end up being. If you're watching this, you care about their soul. You care about where they're going to spend eternity. So let me ask you a question. And this is deep, okay? But I really want you to think about it. What's the one thing you want for your child more than anything else? Just take some time and really think about it. Because you see, when I think about that, and I get past all the day-to-day minutia and the stuff going on and all that other kinds of stuff, as I said, I realize there's really only one thing. And that one thing is I want to spend eternity in heaven with my children. That's the dream. That's it. And it's the vision. And in reality, it's the only thing that really matters. Nothing else comes even close. Now really think about it. Does your child's career make any difference if they're not in heaven in the next life? So with that being the vision, so you're standing before God and you see your son or daughter come through that door, through the gates of heaven. That's what it's all about. Now, we're not just raising kids to be good people. We're raising eternal souls. And our job as parents, our real only job is to bring them home. And by home, I mean to heaven. So Jesus said, enter by the narrow gate. For the gate is wide, and the way is easy that leads to destruction. And those who enter it are many. But the gate is narrow and the way is hard that leads to life, and those who find it are few. Now, Jesus couldn't be more clear. All right? Most people, most of our children, maybe not yours or mine, hopefully not yours or mine, that's why we're watching this, are not on the narrow path that leads to life. So, right now, Satan is targeting your kid, okay, every single day. He's on it. Now, he's not showing up with, with the horns or anything like that and the pitchfork. He's showing up in your child's social media feed, on his YouTube videos, his or hers, in their music, in the pressure at school, the peer pressure, in the constant message that we get from the world. You do you. That's where he's at. And most of all, he's showing up in the noise. So much going on. So much noise in the world. They're hearing so many things. So let's be clear and understand this. Satan doesn't have to get your child to worship him. Satan doesn't have to get your child to even acknowledge he exists. All right? All Satan needs to do is to keep your child too distracted, too busy, too entertained to ever actually know Jesus. Okay? That's all he's got to do. So that's why Jesus told this parable. And I'm sure you remember it. Okay? There's a man sowing seeds, and some of it falls on the footpath, and some of it falls on the rocky soil, and some of it falls among the thorns, and some of it falls on good soil. All right? And it was a parable, and people didn't really understand it. So later he's explaining it to his disciples, and he says, the seed sown among the thorns is the one who hears the word, but the cares of the world and the delight of riches choke the word off, and it proves unfruitful. It's Matthew 13:22. That verse, that's the world your child's growing up in. And if we're going to be honest for our part as parents, all right, if you're anything like me, We let our homes become loud, busy, distracted people. We chase our kids or to go on traveling softball teams or whatever it may be. We've worked long hours ourselves. We chased after the good things, and often we've missed the most important thing. We've did it, and that's what we've shown our children to do. But here's the truth, okay? Another good, hard truth for you. Most Catholic teens leave their faith before they leave their home, okay? And the ones who don't, they're about to step into one of the most spiritually hostile environments imaginable. College. Okay? Let's not sugarcoat this, all right? Because most colleges and universities, whether they're public or private, they are not neutral. They are aggressively secular, morally confused, and spiritually toxic. Statistically, only 17% of Catholic young adults remain true to their faith by the time they're in their early 20s. That means 83% walk away. Your child will walk into classrooms where faith is mocked, professors present worldviews that deny absolute truth, peers promote lifestyles that run directly counter to the gospel. They're being told that truth is relative, that religion is oppressive, and that the only sins are being intolerant or believing something absolute about anything. Let's call it what it is. They're stepping into a war zone. They're stepping into Satan's kitchen. And unless they're anchored in Jesus, deeply formed and spiritually equipped, they ain't going to stand a chance. All right? We just can't hope our children will hold on to their faith. We need to train them to fight for it. Now, here's the good news. You're not powerless. All right? You are essential. As a parent, the most powerful spiritual influence in your child's life is you. Not a priest, not CCD classes, not youth ministry. It's you. Right? You don't have to be a theologian. You don't have theologian. I said that right the second time. You don't need to be perfect, anything like that. You do need to be a disciple yourself. Someone who genuinely knows Jesus and follows him daily and relies on the grace and tools of the Catholic Church. Because listen, your child doesn't need to hear you say you must go to Mass. They need to see you do that, and they need to see that you know the sacraments, you understand them, and you know why they matter. They need to see you turn to confession for mercy and draw your strength from the Eucharist, find guidance in the Scripture, and pray because you know you need him, Jesus. All right? They need to see a parent isn't just religious, but alive in Jesus. Because again, you cannot give what you do not have. And your actions will always speak louder than your words. Is it easy? No. But is it simple? Yes. More powerful and harder than you might think. And you don't have to figure it out alone. Because you see, we have a plan. There's 3 clear steps. First, we've created a program called Encounter Jesus. Now, you need to encounter Jesus yourself. That's that first step. You need to not just once encounter Jesus, but every day. And you need to meet him personally, have a relationship with him personally. Okay? Jesus told his disciples, whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves and take up their cross daily and follow me. That's from Luke, 9th chapter, 23rd verse. This is about becoming a disciple who walks with Jesus every day, who is ready, willing, and able to share Jesus with those he loves, starting with your own child. And that's exactly what the Encounter Jesus series is built for. It's short, it's simple, and it's personal. It's not a program. It's a way to ignite or reignite your own relationship with Jesus and then help you learn to confidently walk in faith. All right, step 2 then. You got to build a faith-centered Catholic home. It's not just about a crucifix on the wall. It's about a crucifix in your heart. Okay? You can't have a Bible on the shelf. The Bible has to be in your heart. You have to read it and use it. At home is where faith is lived, and you need to show that. It's got to be a priority. Where prayer's normal, Mass isn't optional, and where your child learns that God is real and he matters more than their grades, than their sports. He matters more than all of it. And not just by your words, by your actions. Look at your schedule. Look at your child's schedule. Based on your schedule, what's most important? And if it's not God, you need to change. Okay? That's step 2. Then we go to step 3. You personally need to mentor your child in faith. Yes, you can send them to CCD classes, all those types of things, but you need to lead by example and by intentionally teaching them. And so you go through the Encounter Jesus program. Now watch or go with your child through that same program. It means being vulnerable. It means having real conversations, helping them learn to pray, letting them see how you wrestle with doubts, rely on Jesus, and then grow. You have to walk with them, just like Jesus walked with the disciples on earth. That's how it's done. And yes, it can be overwhelming. You think about doing it all at one time, it really blows your mind, but you won't be alone. There are hundreds of Catholic tools out there. And we're not talking just tools that add noise, okay? And we don't want our programs to add to that noise. There's a wealth out there. We created Catholic Sharing Jesus to give you clear, most usable first steps. That's what we want to give you. And that includes Encountering Jesus. There's mentoring tools on there, and soon a resource to help you build a Christ-centered family step by step. You don't need to do everything. You just need to start with what matters most. Okay, so now before I go, I want to leave you with one more image. If you're able, now don't do this if you're listening to this while you're driving, but it is a video, so I doubt seriously that's the case. All right, but if you're able, close your eyes for a moment and picture Judgment Day. There's this long line of souls, each one stepping forward to stand before Jesus, and when you do, the movie of their life plays. Not just for them, but for everybody who's there. Everybody for all eternity. Okay? Now it's your turn. And you step forward and your life plays. And it's clear you loved your kids. You did a lot of good. But you also had moments. You see moments, and everybody else does, too many moments, where you could have done better. You could have guided your children better to Jesus. Now, but you had the faith. You understood the crucifixion. And you're welcomed into heaven. And you step down that path to the light, to eternity. But then you pause because one of your kids is coming up in that line. Okay? And you watch, and their story unfolds. And they didn't know Jesus. They walked away from Jesus. They rejected him. And Jesus, who loves them more than you ever could, says, you rejected me during your life on earth. Now you got to follow the road you chose. And your child starts to walk toward the opposite path as you, toward Satan, toward eternal separation. And just before they disappear, they turn, look over their shoulder, and they see you. They're not blaming you. They know they're responsible for their own decision. But in their eyes, you see the question, why didn't you do more? Can you imagine a more horrific moment? You don't want to see that moment. Absolutely not. And by God's grace, you don't have to. Right now, you have a chance to make a different choice. To say what Joshua said, as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. So now, here's what you have to do. Click the button. Take your first step. Start your encounter Jesus. Let Jesus meet with you. Walk with him and keep going down that path, and then come back and lead your child down that same path you just went, because you know the way. Let's rescue souls, starting with our children, but you could do this with anybody you care about, okay? And hopefully your child will go to college able to do this with somebody else, one soul at a time. God bless you.